drop my pants and watch some Netflix or something like that. It's like
Netflix and chill with myself.
Yeah.
You're listening to Those Dram Yinzers with your hosts, John and Zack.
Hey everyone, I'm John. Welcome to Those Dram Yinzers, where we drink whiskey and talk about it. For everything Those Dram Yinzers, be sure to visit thosedramyinzers.com. You can find our social media links, our Patreon page, and a link to Zack's favorite website, dramit.threadless.com, where you can find all other merchandise for the podcast. If you would like to sponsor the show, we very much welcome that. Or you would like us to try your product on the show or do an ad for your product on the show, just send us a DM on any social media or an email. Okay. As you heard, Zack isn't with me today. He's not feeling that great. And I have a guest host with me who was going to be here whether Zack was or not. But we're on location tonight. We're not at the house. We're not at the bar. We're not at Zack's. We are with, and you guys saw him on all over my social media when I was just on the trip. He's been on the show before. It's been a bit, but he's been on the show before. He is the Pittsburgh for Warriors.
So Pittsburgh ambassador for
that was the
Warriors
word.
and Whiskey and Veterans Whiskey.
Yeah, Warriors and Whiskey ambassador for the Pittsburgh area, Mr. Jason LeFave. Thanks for coming on, bud.
Hey man, awesome. Thank you for having me for sure.
Yeah, so we are actually at your house, at your bar, which there will be plenty of pictures posted on our social media and mine because this is beautiful. This makes my bar look like shit.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. That's a big compliment.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But yeah, so we're here on location. I figured, Jason's been wanting us to come down and hang out down here, and I was like, well, we wanted to review a whiskey that I wanted to do with Jason anyway, and so I called him. I was like, hey, you want to do this week? And he's like, okay, come on down. So we're here. Yeah, and I'm super excited. So today, Jason again was all over our social media because he gave me a ride to Wilderness Trail for that, for the PWF pick down there. And I talked about it last show, how we went to the Blind Pig.
Yeah.
And the owner does his own blending. Now, I don't know if he does it for this label, or he just this is the blank label he had, so he did it. But it's a J. Mattingly label and bottle, right. But it's his blend, and he called it. He did this whole series. It's the last of this series where he did all like the Three Little Pigs. And this one is the last one, so it's called the Big Bad Wolf of Bardstown. Now it says 118 proof on here. I don't know if that's from like whatever the other bottle was.
Yeah.
If he wrote that.
It might be a mystery.
Yeah, so I don't really know what we're getting into here, but this should be a good time. So I talked about like my experience and everything from the trip. Now you had been on a couple other picks before, not with PWF,
correct,
but for like Warriors and stuff like that. So talk about your experience and like that whole trip from your perspective.
Man, what an amazing event it was! I think it was really cool to be able to. I mean, we knew each other from talking before. Mm-hmm. We didn't really know each other. It's amazing when you're stuck in the same car with with somebody for however 6-7 hours.
Well, we took longer because we kept stopping at places.
With small, correct. So small bladders will bond people together really quickly. The number of times you stop. So it was amazing to go down together and do that. This pick was neat. It was so low pressure. It felt comfortable. I mean, I'm an absolute fanboy of Pittsburgh Whiskey Friends, and within that, Boggers, we have a really unique crew up here. I think the whiskey community is super tight, and larger nationally. When we've done a pick like this for other clubs that I've been a part of, just been lucky enough to tag along. You really don't know anybody you're bumping into. Maybe it's the first time. So this was cool. We had a cool crew. I can't say enough about how much fun it was to turn the lobby of the Holiday Inn into our own personal what's the right word?
Whiskey share.
Whiskey share.
Yeah.
With everyone aging from 25, I hope they're over 21,
Well,
to 85. I mean, even Grandma was getting her groove on with it. So it was cool. Bardstown, I think, is a neat place, but I think when people say Whiskey Trail, they don't really understand that the trail is not a trail. It's more of this conglomeration of little towns and side roads and pit stops and places you can pull off. And so you just jump in a vehicle and you cruise around and you find yourself a honey hole. It's pretty doggone neat. I was surprised. We went to Bardstown that day, and they were having a protest.
For the local school.
For the local school. And you want to talk about a small town getting together. It was pretty neat to see. And it was neat to go back because I hadn't been back in over 2 years and see the changes that they had made. And sadly, the Blind Pig, where we got this bottle given to you by the owner, used to have a speakeasy and a bed and breakfast, if memory serves, and he had to close both those. Those are correct me if I'm wrong, but they were victims of the pandemic.
Yeah,
probably. That's what we
more than that's anything that's been closing recently. It's they just haven't recovered from that.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw that we see that in Pittsburgh with 446.
Right.
That distillery in Sharpsburg. You know, they had to close their doors recently because they just couldn't recover from the pandemic. So yeah.
So we're fortunate. It was fortunate that he was still open. There's a little place that kind of stuck in my mind. I remember going in there and grabbing some really bottles I'd never seen before, and it was neat. So the trip was amazing. The share was amazing, and the whiskey we chose, I think, was pretty really doggone good. So I think we did all right.
Heck yeah. I mean, you want to talk about hole in the wall? That's what I would describe this shop because it literally it's like this tiny little thing, but it is jam packed with stuff.
He doesn't waste space.
And you walk in, and I mean, he had like 3 or 4 Blind Pig picks.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's not like he's like this. You know what I mean? So he's got so.
And to my understanding, this was something that he did, and he would give to a lot of the master distillers. That's So that's pretty cool.
We probably should have got more detail about this. But I was just like so thankful. He was just like, "Here, take this," and I was
get out of there before he changes his mind.
I like doing this, and so when we get recognized or something like this happens, where he's like, "You have a podcast here, take this bottle for free," and you don't have to, you only have to pay for the shirt, or whatever, because we got a bunch of stuff from him, like merch and stuff, and I get so thrown off and just completely like as my shirt says, my introverted side just like really kicks in, and I just like, oh, thank you, and I'm like, okay, let's go, and I walk out and I was like, probably should have asked more questions about this, but
he was as exactly as I remembered the owner from before, engaging, just kind, really knows bourbon, and really knows the history of. Obviously of the area. I think everybody that works in the industry probably does, but it was interesting the first time we went down, my wife and I, he gave us a story about Pinhook and their master distiller, and about some of the castle and key as it was being reborn. And so this was neat. This was an opportunity to kind of see him again, and still an amazing guy, awesome little shop, engaging, warm, welcoming. I mean, everything you could ask for in a vendor. Really kind of an ambassador for whiskey, in my opinion. That's, and I say that not because he gave us a bottle, but just because when everybody down there is kind of open arms. So it's pretty cool to see that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's what I was going to say is his knowledge was very excellent, and he was very, like, approachable and everything, which, I mean, if you're going to have a little shop like that you're selling whiskey, you don't want to be standoffish. You know what I mean? So, he was exactly what you expected it to be. And I felt like if we walked in and didn't know anything, we would have got a whole, history lesson and
non-judgmental.
Yes, exactly.
Non-judgmental. Like really genuinely wanting to teach the art of the whiskey and bourbon.
Which I know is something that, like, the group, tie back to the group, really stands for as well is, non-judgmental, but, super knowledgeable and just wanting to welcome more people into the fold. I was teasing, like, my brother Tomas, right, because he does the editing. He is a big Scotch fan and still kind of intro to it, you know what I mean? But he came with us he came with me to one of the shares. And so after he had a couple of bourbons, I walked him over and introduced Tim to the Boggers corner.
Uh-oh.
And I was just
the Boggers get at him.
It was Brian, and I was just like, Brian, he likes it. He wants to know more. Yes. Take care of him. Yes. I'm going to go do whatever I want to do. And that's what we were leaving. And Tomas was just like, that blew all my expectations out of the water. He goes, I don't know what I really expected. Like, I didn't expect it to be bad, but like, they did not care about what I liked. He goes, so many other people were just like, oh, you like that? That was wrong with you kind of thing. And he was like, they were just like, oh, you like that? Well, if you like that, you're really going to like this. And if you like this, you need to try that. He was just like, they were so knowledgeable and so welcoming. He was like, that was the best experience I've ever had.
That's very true. Very engaging. Jacob and Brian, amazing guys. Everybody in Boggers. I mean, it's smaller. I mean, I probably was not the original way you're supposed to enjoy peat. I just slugged it, loved it, and went back for more. But I remember very recently, we talked about this on the way down. One of my buddies, Craig Wright, who's also in the group, Pittsburgh Whiskey Friends, wanted to walk into peat a little bit. And so I solicited advice and instruction from the fellow Boggers and the whiskey lovers in the group. And I was told, here's what you do, step by step. And I was pretty good at following those instructions up until we had a bit of whiskey in our system, and he said, I want to take it up a notch. So if you want to take it up a notch, you take it up a notch. And I poured him a glass of Octomore, handed it to him, and said, he goes, what's that? And I said, just drink it. He didn't like me for a little bit after that. Sorry, Craig. Life's rough. Man up. Anyways, so whoops, I wasn't the best ambassador in that situation for the bog life, but
he asked
it was
for
good.
He
did. Yeah.
But yeah, so let's crack into this. There's really no like label anything because again, this is just like his personal blend. More floral nose.
Yes, very floral nose to it,
but not too much else. Also, I'm still probably stuffed up, but
not an overwhelming. Alcohol.
Yes.
So very mild and enjoyable nose. The color is just amazing.
It's super dark.
It's interesting, especially when you hold it to the light and you see how dark it is. It almost reminds me of the color of that the Peerless pick, the Peerless Rye pick. How dark that was.
Yeah, that was super dark.
Yeah, it's a dark. Yeah. Like molasses. Every time I look at the bottle, I get a little giddy about it, and sad because it's going to go away soon.
That's got an interesting like maltiness on the back end.
There is a heavy malt. There's no mistaking though that it's got a dominant amount of bourbon in there. Spice,
super oily, which I like.
Very oily, yeah.
Which it being this dark, I would expect it to be a little, you know what I mean?
I pick up cinnamon. That's not unusual for me when I taste the darker ones. Black currant. But then again, my taste buds could be all out of whack considering we just had that blood oath.
The blood oath, yeah. Well, actually, I think that was probably a good guess to start with because that had very much a very sweet, very standard bourbon nose. Actually, a really beautiful nose. And this, with it being so different, I think that kind of ended up working in our favor.
I think the floral nose to it sets the tone for it, though. The taste is, it's got a great flavor. It has a bunch going on there, which I guess you would expect from an infinity bottle type blend. Yeah, you're smashing all these flavors together. It certainly is better than what I would think initially.
Right, but when you're like, oh, I blended this together.
Yeah. But then again, this is a gentleman who's also been in this business a long time.
Right.
So I think he's probably got an idea what he's aiming for when he mixes stuff together.
But yeah, it's super oily up front. Spice in the middle, but not like crazy. What I say? Maltiness on the back end. Definitely on the higher proof because that lingers. That proof, it's not like I'm not like, but like
it falls away fairly quickly. It does.
It does, but the spiciness of the proof kind of lingers, but it's not like I'm not like dying. Like, oh God, here's my heartburn kicking me. Right,
a comfortable mouthfeel to it.
Yes.
It is an enjoyable one, and it does fade fairly quick next to some that kind of linger very heavy. I don't know if it's if this 118 is really what the proof is on it. It doesn't feel like a 118 or drink like a 118.
No, but I would probably put it up there if I had to guess. Because I've noticed recently when I've done when Zack and I just for our 5-year just did the Jim's the 5 samples he gave me for my birthday, and I was guessing my proofs were off.
Really?
Because I was like, oh, I'm guessing it's this, and it wasn't. I was guessing lower. I was guessing lower than what it was for the most part, which is fine with me because that just means my palate's getting better. But
right, yeah. Pour you a little water and we'll get a little rinse.
Oh,
if I can.
You fancy here with your.
Well, I looked for the Tropo.
Oh, the Topo Choco, whatever that one.
Yeah.
Alex's favorite. Yeah.
And I couldn't find it, so I'm like, well, that looks like it'll do the same.
We went on our honeymoon to Rome.
Oh, I don't like it.
Yeah, you probably got the sparkling one. Yep. And our tour guide, before we went anywhere, she was like, "Who's been here before?" Whatever. Gave all that. She was like, "Here's my biggest suggestion: is when they ask you if you want water, they're gonna say gas or no gas. Yep. You're gonna look at them like they got 6 heads. They mean, do you want it sparkling or not? And say you don't. If you don't like sparkling water, you don't want it. Yep. So
no bubbly. Yeah, X on the bubbly. Actually, it's not too bad. It does, though. It does rinse the flavor away. So I'm going to give this a second go.
You over here pulling out fancy water. I'd be getting you, the water from the the fridge water.
I wanted to make a good impression. All right, so we're going to hug. So I've started to gauge the finish on if it makes me cough hard. So there's probably, I don't know, maybe my lungs are shot, but if I start coughing, it's a good hug, and I like it.
See, I always put finish and hug in 2 different categories. So finish is like what's lingering on my tongue or in my mouth, once it's done. Hug is like how does it feel from here to here?
Yeah, that got me. That's good. No, I agree with you. You're right. I guess it's deceptive. I think when I do reviews, I try to keep the reviews. I try to be just every man, like what we can relate to. We talked about that on the way down.
We're the same thing. We're not getting
fancy
too deep.
big SAT words and guys are reviewing. I'm like, dude,
no one is Bobby Long.
Do you like it? Yes. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Now we're set. I do like a bourbon or a whiskey in general with a great hug on it, though. I like a bold hug. She does not. She would prefer that she could just keep it going without having to stop, I think.
Well, yeah. I've been finding I like the 110s.
Right.
I really enjoy that one. Now I'll try anything, but that's what we've been finding out when we've doing these guesses is, I'm really enjoy these 115 is my sweet spot, with proof. So yeah, but I have something. I think I have 130 proof something or other at the house.
Hazmat right there. That's a good stuff.
Yeah. It's a Tennessee whiskey that I think I was like, why didn't I grab it? I think I gave it to my brother. But it was finished in cacao nibs.
No kidding.
And it was 130 proof.
Wow.
Yeah.
That'll get you. I like Monday through Friday, I like a lower proof when I get home. And I battle, I think a lot of people do. I battle with heartburn sometimes.
Me too.
So if I have one and I'm not careful, if I don't hydrate well, then, it flares up, especially if I go straight to 120. And you'll fight it. You know how it is. You come downstairs, that looks so good. I want that as my first pour. But if I have that as my first pour, that's going to be my last pour, too. So on the weekends, when I, the range is clear and I can fire at will, we'll step it on up. So most definitely. But this is nice. This is a great blend. I'm surprised. Like,
well, you're always taking a shot in the dark when
right.
Someone hands you and said, "This is my own blend." You know what I mean? Like I almost grabbed, but I need to update it. That's why I didn't grab it tonight. So we have a show Infinity bottle.
Oh no! Oh, that's right. Yeah,
So
I remember that.
in October, at the end of October, and our anniversary, I take anything that I have left over that I've tried or we've tried on the show, and I pour at least a little bit or maybe all of it because usually we're getting sample sizes anyway into that, and I haven't updated it for this past year yet.
Wow.
So I need to do that, and
infinity to the infinity.
Mm-hmm. And it's actually surprisingly been pretty because it's no holds bar. Everything's in there. Everything. Now the Scotch, the 1 year we must have had a lot of Scotches or a lot of peated stuff because the peat was real strong. And then the next year we had a little less of that, so it was still there, but I definitely noticed a difference in the strength of it. So this year I have no idea because I haven't sat down and labeled everything out what we've had, and so that should be interesting whenever we have that. But I've been honestly shocked, it's actually not been bad for it being because people do Infinity bottles like, oh, this is bourbon only or this is Scotch only. This is
that would be my instinct too. I guess I would think to
which
myself,
is nothing wrong with it, but I was just like, this is the show's
It's
Infinity,
the show's bottle,
I mean?
which is
over
cool.
the past 5 years. This is everything we've tried, kind of thing. So
I'd be interested to see, especially with some of the stuff that you've done with the peated scotches, how that changes the flavor profile. Especially you talk like an Octomore or one of those peat monsters,
the big ones, yeah.
And then how much really is there at the end, or does it kind of mellow it out and really give you that peaty flavor but balanced? Real nice.
Yeah, the first year was pretty upfront. The first time we had a lot of that. And then what's in it now, like I said, I haven't added anything from the past year, but what's in it now is it's more back end peat.
Right.
You know what I mean? So not up front, but a nice beautiful finish of it. But yeah, I gotta add to it. Although if I had added to it, I would have brought it with me tonight, but I didn't do that yet. So I brought you other goodies.
Yes, definitely. Yes. So
hey, cheers!
Cheers on that. That was surprisingly good. I'm glad we got to do this one, and man, I wish we had Zack here.
Oh, he'll get some. Don't worry, he'll get some. Yeah. This is going to be a. I'll be interested next year. I bring this to see how that's because I never. That's my thing with shares. Is I don't have an extent. I mean, I have a decent collection, but it's all pretty easily findable things because for the show, a lot of times it's I want, with us being Pittsburgh based, we'll have other things that can't get in PA if I just get it on trips or whatnot, right? But most of the time, it's we want to try to have stuff that's in PA, especially the local stuff, right? So I don't have too much extensive things to bring, but I'm excited to bring this next time. Yeah.
The shares are neat. We were talking about that before you hit the record button. And, I mean, if you're new to whiskey or new to bourbon, what an amazing place to go and get the kind of no judgment. Here you go. Try this. Try that. It's funny because I struggle sometimes. I'm I want to bring a bottle that nobody's had yet, right? Something that's just kind of unique, And I learned my lesson. You must pop your bottle open before.
Because people will not open it. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So,
well, I mean, in a way, that's, it just shows how, respectful people are.
Yeah.
It's I don't, even though, I bring stuff, no, please open it. You know what I mean? So, which, again, we talked about this when we were driving. It's I'm pretty sure, 80% of my bottles are open. And it's probably a little less right now because I haven't opened the stuff we brought. Yeah. From home.
You witness what happens when my wife is down here. She'll heat seek to the first bottle that screams, I can't find it and it's expensive. Yeah. And she'll drain it.
Yeah. Well, that was, I was tasked with finding her Penelope stuff on the trip. So
yeah. Well, she is one of a group of Penelope lovers. I had another word for them. I'm not going to say that. And I'm sure the other main one, she is listening right now, or will listen to this. And but yeah, we got some Penelope girls in this group. That's the other thing that's cool. I think we have more active women in Pittsburgh Whiskey Friends and than other groups by average.
I mean, you brought up the Peerless pick. That was 100%.
Oh yeah,
female. Female lineup.
Oh, it might be one of the best
and some of the best palettes.
Yeah,
I'll say it. Screw
yes.
the guys. It's some of the best palettes we have in the group.
100% are the ladies of Pittsburgh Whiskey Friends, without a doubt. I mean,
if they walked up to me and said, "You need to try this. I get this, this, and this. I'm going to try."
Yeah.
No question. Okay. Pour it. You don't even have to tell me what it is. It could be. You could just hand this to me and go,
"Yes, ma'am.
I really like this. You should try it." Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, yeah. It's such a cool part of the group. And there's never, I've never witnessed it. Criticism of each other in their group. I mean, maybe it's happened, but if you look at other large groups, Bourbon Lovers, some of these other big national groups, and it's like WWE on the Facebook page. And so it's so cool. You got this kind of just really well moderated, well thought out Facebook group that shares with other groups, collaborates. Look at what we were able to do, for Liberty Pole. That was cool.
Oh, yes.
I mean, you talk about groups that sometimes get egos involved, and instead we were able to say, hey, we really care and love the Haus and Liberty Pole. No egos, right? No egos. We all came together, and that was super cool. You don't find that a whole lot. That speaks volumes about the kind of people we have, I think, in the group. So you're grinning at me.
Huff.
Yes, I know. Listen, I'm lucky I can pronounce my own name right. And for everybody listening, he just corrected me on his name I've been saying wrong.
You've been at an N in my name.
Yeah. Well, in my defense, I don't have a defense. So. Okay, a bad student? Sorry, Jim and Ellen. Sorry. I'm never going to live that
You're seeing
down.
that there's like I don't know what podcast it is, but it's a podcast clip, and one of the hosts is one of the guys from Impractical Jokers. Yeah. Did you ever see that one where he catches his buddies pronouncing Tupperware wrong? That's what I think of when you.
Now, listen, in my defense, I've said it right more than I've said it wrong. But I just don't have a defense. So I'm not going to live this down. It's clear. You're going to edit this out, right?
Nope. I'm going to get a text from Jim. That's hilarious.
Yeah. I'm quite embarrassed and red, and the camera's rolling. Great. Oh well. You know what? That's what's fun about this podcast show and listening to it. It's authentic. It's cool. And sometimes if you step in your own pile of proverbial, you will have to deal with it. Another drink?
yeah, right? But, so I know you've talked about Warriors and Whiskeys when you were on the first time.
Yeah.
In fact, it was your wife that talked you into coming and sitting down with us. And then she immediately regretted it because we kept you there for like 30 minutes.
Hey, she bought and paid for it. That's how it rolls, right? Yeah.
She thought we'd be like, who's this crazy person? Please leave.
Kick me off. Yeah.
No, we had you sit down and talk.
Yeah. Well, you hit my nerd. It's like your shirt.
Yeah.
It's like your shirt. Yeah. Introverted but willing. You got to show the camera. Introverted but willing to discuss bourbon is absolutely
I mean, how do I not buy this shirt?
I did. And I remember you looking at the rack for what you couldn't find a large. All they had were like extra
2Xs.
large.
Yeah,
or 2Xs.
2X. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were searching around. I'm like, man, I hope he finds it because that sums it up.
I went up and I asked, and I was like, "Do you have one?" And she was not in that color. I was like, "I don't care. I don't care what
I'll
color
take
it
it.
is."
Fuchsia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll wear it on Wednesdays if it's
right.
pink, But so you've talked about Warriors and Whiskey. So any updates to the group or veterans or anything coming up that you want to talk about?
So I mean, we've been clipping along. We've been adding members nationally. What's really been interesting over the last 6 months, Jason, Tom, and Milo have really, they've dived into the Brass and Anchor brand of bourbon, which is a blend. It is surprisingly spot on.
Yeah.
So I have, and you know what? I don't know if you've had the batch yet.
Did you bring that? Yes, you brought that to a share with the other
April 1.
April 1. Yeah.
So if you haven't had it, I saved a pour. I've got another bottle. Unfortunately, and if you ever listen to this, this is my hint. When I had the great bourbon shelf fail of 2023, I lost my other backup to April 1, so I'm remiss. But no, good things. They've really been selling that bourbon well. It feeds my side of the veteran. The veteran community that I need, I think we talked about that. It's something that that's near and dear. Being able to help other vets, the community itself on Facebook. We're growing. The veteran side is probably 25,000 plus people. The Warriors and Whiskey, which is also the parent name for it, is growing too. Not as fast. I think there's kind of people are tentative to join. And then we have Veteran Cigar Club, which is for all the people that love cigars. And so it's neat to watch it evolve. Tom, Jason, and Milo have really been kicking ass, and I was really lucky to be able to go down over the summer, hang out with Charlie, who, for those that don't know, was the mastermind behind the board, who did all the work. Him and his wife Natalie. So Charlie, Natalie. Amazing, wonderful, warm people. And heck of a cook. I mean, he walloped us up some amazing grub, and we sat around and drank and fellowshipped and just got to hang out, and that was awesome. So, group's going well. I was really, I fell in love with the way that Pittsburgh Whiskey Friends does the shares, and we talked a bit about this, where I enjoy the fellowship of talking with people and talking about whiskey and building those bonds, those lines of friendships. It's not that I don't like going out to restaurants and bars, but I think you know this. You've experienced it, as many of the people in our group that will listen to this. You have a lot of the bottles that they're going to sell at a restaurant on your shelf. So it's very, very hard to pay $20 a pour for a bottle sitting at home on your shelf collecting a little bit of dust. So I'm always cognizant of that. When we do a meetup, are we looking out for both the vendor, the establishment who we want to see succeed, and also the veteran, or the supporter of veterans, the community. Pittsburgh Whiskey Friends has been absolute great to Warriors and Whiskey and Veterans Whiskey Club. I mean, they collaborate together. Our members are members in each other's groups. So, really cool. I mean, I can think of the people that are in Steel City Beer and Bourbon are in Pittsburgh Whiskey Friends, they're also in Warriors and Whiskey, and vice versa. And I feel like, if I just need a break, I could just hand the group over to anybody and be like, yeah, cool. I don't need to worry about it. So that's a pretty unique thing. So yeah, it's clicking along. It's doing its thing. It's good stuff.
Good. And the board you're talking about was the one that you all presented that had all the local clubs on it. That you presented to Jim and Ellen when they had the grand reopening, which I will forever tease Aaron about because he left out the podcast.
Yes. So that is not my fault.
Oh, no, I didn't say you. I said Aaron.
I am not owning that one. As it was.
Which I just said, I'll just slap a sticker on it because whatever.
So when we actually got the board, I was made fun of pretty harshly by a couple people that were like, man, your club, the one the Steel City Beer and Bourbon, that's mine and a couple other guys, we have the lamest looking logo, and it is. I'll be honest with you. Let me tell you how much time and effort went into that logo.
This much,
that right there. All right, it rhymes, So. It was, but yeah, the heart was there. It was so cool to take that and work with everybody, and then sign the back of it, and put that message on there. And it could hang in a room, it could hang somewhere where only they see it,
right?
But I think that they know that as a community, that really it goes outside of Pittsburgh, which is freaking awesome. They got people that love them, you know, and that are going to fight for them.
I mean, you were saying your buddy that did it, like it came from, like you drove it all the way back from Florida.
So he actually shipped it.
Oh, he shipped it. Okay.
But we had, so he shipped it, which, you know, I don't know how, now thinking back, I don't know how the heck he did that because it was big.
Yeah, it was.
But, you know, he's a lover of Liberty Pole too.
Well, I was going to say, when you go down, you usually have to like, you got a massive, like, honestly, you could probably get a bulk discount.
Yeah, I have orders that flow in. It's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. I worry about getting pulled over sometimes, or if a spark hits the car the wrong way, it's going to be a ball of flames going down the interstate. But Liberty Pole has reached everywhere that I have gone. So when I went to Dallas, I brought some bottles down there and shared it, and dudes are like, "Hey, where do I get this?" And I'm like, "Man, you got to come up to PA.
Yep.
It's where rye is, man. Mm-hmm. We are rye, and just so you know, everybody knows, I was not a rye guy.
Me neither.
I was introduced to rye in two parts. One of my best friends, and we served together. We you know, he's here. Dan Taylor brought over a bottle of High West Bur Rye, if I say it correctly, because I mispronounce everything. Right?
I always thought it was Boo Rye, but I don't know. I can't pronounce. I have a 5th grade reading level. So.
I get a neutral pass on this one.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
So that was my toe dip into rye, and then when I was down at Liberty Pole, Jim poured me ryes. And listen, if it's good, it's good. Mm-hmm. I don't pull punches. If I like it, I'm gonna say I like it. Mm-hmm. I'll fight you over Liberty Pole.
Oh, for sure.
You know, straight up. It to me, it's authentic. It's real. It comes from great people. It comes from a historical corner, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, there are great ryes out there I've had since. There are some really amazing. The Peerless pick was one of them. But pound for pound, punch for punch, I don't see what's better. At least for my taste profile. I'm not saying that there isn't another great rye maker out there. I like what I like. And that's the way it is, you know. So, yeah, that was a neat experience.
Yeah, I still want to send a sample pack to the podcast that inspired me to do it, the podcast right down in Tennessee, and in Franklin, right outside of Nashville, and I want to send them a sample pack of Liberty Pole products because I think they'll enjoy it, but also just to spread the word because if they catch wind of it, then there's going to be so they have one of their listeners is actually from Pittsburgh. And he's called their historian because he's like listened to every episode like multiple, like he has a whole like legit historian like thing. Anyway, so I know if they try this and they like it, I have a feeling he'll be bringing bottles down, you know. But I mean, especially with the new location, I'm always trying to get people to go down there and whatnot. I actually want here's a task I have from one of our listeners that is a pretty active listener. Is I want someone to find the average amount of time per show that it takes us to bring up Liberty Pole. Because there isn't, we don't go. There's not too many shows we go without talking about them.
Yeah. Well, here's what's funny is when I call my brother lives down in Florida. He's a member of the group, and he will, if he knows I'm coming down, he's like, "Hey man, you got my Liberty Pole?" Yeah. Like I feel like a smack pusher.
Yeah.
You know, like you know, where's my stuff, bro?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so yeah, Liberty. I'm telling you, Liberty Pole is really, really done amazing things, and what an amazing building. Mm-hmm. The only thing that beats that beautiful campus are the people that are there. Yeah, in my opinion, I can't think of anybody down there that just aren't great. Just great people, just really genuine great people, and we are freaking lucky to have them
very much so.
in our backyard, so to speak. I mean, I'm closer So
you are closer, yeah.
It's pretty doggone neat. So
yeah, you don't have to deal with the tunnel like I do.
That tunnel,
which is probably good
because you would be down there a lot more.
Yes.
So I'm gonna try this.
Oh yeah, so I brought you some picks. I wasn't sure if you got access to any of these or not, but some of the other local picks from the group. So you just opened up Ragtime Rye, which is out of New York, and the big thing about this one, hence the placard thing, the neck, whatever you want to call it,
necktie thing.
Yeah, the neck. That actually is barrel number 412.
Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whoever did that on the pick, were you on this picking crew?
I was not. No.
Whoever did that on the picking crew needs a high five and a go team.
Yeah.
Seriously, that is awesome. Now I don't even want to drink it.
But I know, I mean, when did you join the group? I don't know if we've ever actually talked about that.
I joined probably as my dog party Curry's favor from you.
Yeah. That's okay.
It's been 2 years. I don't think I was very active at first. I was mostly just kind of sit back and watch it. I am not a social butterfly on Facebook. We talked about that. So I missed a lot of picks at first. I honestly didn't know how to do them. And then I was also, I think a lot of people, probably good to talk about, a lot of people get concerned, like, can I trust paying people money? I'd never even bat an eye. I would throw my wallet over to Aaron and be like, hey guys, here you go, just do whatever, I don't care.
Take my money.
But I've also, it's like, you have good girlfriends, you have bad girlfriends. I've had some bad girlfriends in the bourbon world that have taken my money. So I missed out on some picks. I just didn't know. And then finally, once I cracked and I think the first pick I got was it the Yellowstone or Friends in No Places?
Friends in No Places is
more recent.
That was recent. Yeah. Yellowstone was a bit ago.
That was a bit ago. That may have been my first one. Now I don't mess around. Now I got alarms set.
I actually have to be selective because we're pumping out a lot of really good ones. So I have to financially be selective with what I'm getting. But here's the crazy thing, right? So I've done store picks from like private stores all over different, I talked about the podcast. There is a private liquor store down between Franklin and Nashville. Name is escaping me, but their picking team is wonderful. And I've had a couple of their picks and great. Right. So, but it's consistent. It's, not consistent like their picks all taste the same, but like the picking crew is consistent, and with the group, it's different. I mean, there's a couple people usually that are pretty, that show up, if not every pick, maybe every other pick. Right. And so there's a little bit of consistency with it, but for the most part, the picking crew itself is different every time. Yeah. And the fact that like it's different every time and we're still coming up with really good whiskeys is just astonishing to me.
That says something.
You would statistically, one of these should be bad because it's not consistent, but it's people who care about what they're doing and want to do right by the group and everything and want to bring something that is different than normal expressions and everything like that. But like we said, the Peerless pick.
What amazing.
It's so good. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
I'll be partial. I think the pick that we just did
is really good.
Delicious. But no, you bring up a great point. There are guys that do this for a living. Right? And they're very good at it. They could probably tell you exactly what the proof is on this bottle that the Big Bad Wolf bottle, and they're refined. I remember, I think I was telling you about one of our members who's a good friend of mine. He believes that he's not very good with his palate yet. And I said, you know what though? At the end of the day, sometimes you just need that guy or gal who's like, it's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
You need the simplicity.
This one I like more than this one.
Mm-hmm. What? And you say, why?
Why?
Because
I do.
Yeah. They may be able to they won't get like crazy specific, like Bobby Long specific, but like they'll get enough that like, oh, this is going to appeal to a wider range of people. Yeah. Because they're, you know what I mean? Because, but
the average Joe, I can't tell you the different flavor notes. And I mean, I still learn a lot every time. I learn from so many people in the group. I try to, sometimes I pull out different flavors, or I can't even articulate it. I remember we had that problem when we were we did the pick. I couldn't pin my head on what flavor I was tasting, and they had a little spin wheel.
Yeah. The flavor wheel.
Yeah, the flavor wheel. So sometimes you just need that person that's just like, this is the one. This is my precious. And they go with it. But you're right, it's crazy. All those picks that have been done. This is amazing. This Ragtime Rye is really good.
And you would think like, oh, this is gimmicky because we got barrel 412, but like,
hey,
still good.
Yeah. I mean, hey, 412 is a hell of a number. Yeah. So apparently, the Yellowstone pick was great. Admittingly, my Friends in No Places has not been cracked. And I
don't know if mine actually has been cracked yet.
I just can't bring myself to crack it. I don't know if there's some sentimental attachment
honestly,
to it.
I might. So we talked about, I have that, and I've talked about it on the show, the 14-year Knob Creek Peak, right?
14, yeah.
That is my special. I think the Friends in No Places will probably be my next, like, special. This is my special Knob Creek, kind of thing. Like, I only busted out for whatever.
It's tough on some of those. You don't want them to go away.
That's the thing. I am so bad at bottle killing because here's the other thing too, right? If it's a seasonal expression, I want to save some for the next time it comes out. And you would think, okay, then I'd kill it because the next. No. Then I want to save it so I can do 3 years. Yeah. This is my mathematical
or share it
brain.
With somebody. Yes. Or give it to somebody. I mean, so that right there, that's my bucket of shame and tears and sadness. And I started that when I realized, number one, I started because I started.
So to describe it, it's a dogfish head metal bucket with a bunch of toppers on it. Yeah.
In case one breaks off in the bottle, that was the excuse.
Well,
And then I realized when I filled it up, I have issues. They're not bad issues. Yeah. They're adult issues. But I don't like killing them. I don't like killing them because I don't like replacing them. Because then I realized this actually does cost.
Well, that too.
A little bit of money.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is too, like I have a lot of very special things, so I'm just like, there is no replacement to this. So do I want to lose it?
The Wilderness Trail pick that we did. I don't want to let that bottle go.
That's why I grabbed two, because I'm like, I'm gonna have one that I'm gonna drink and share and everything, and I'm gonna have one that's probably gonna collect dust.
15 years
because it's the first pick I was on.
Right.
Yeah.
We have a Pittsburgh Whiskey Friends 25-year reunion. Mm-hmm. How cool would it be to crack out the Wilderness Trail listen, I'm not even going to try it with the Peerless Rye. That thing is not going to last this winter. It's tragic.
Well, good. When you finish yours, I'll crack mine, and we'll just kill that one too.
So I was surprised when we were down there. Scott Bartholomew, who went with us, he brought his down with him, and I remember he put it on the table, and I went, "Oh my!
Put that away, sir.
What are you doing, good sir?" Yeah. Look, he brought some fantastic bottles down.
I thought I was being fancy by bringing my BTAC bottle, but
I brought my bottle of Jack Single Malt. Woo!
I appreciated that pour, brother.
Good.
So
Then he pulled out a Purple Top Willet, and I kind of went, "Okay, wow." So it was cool though,
But that's the other thing too, is like people were willing to do that too.
That says so much.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it says so much.
Or how he, what was the one that he parted ways? I mean, he had a bunch of them, but you bought one off him while we were there.
So
what was the oh, come on. Green River.
Yeah, and because I thought, well, I'll just jump in the car and drive. And he's, no, it's about 3 hours away. And I got a little sad.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. If our pick was in the morning, I'd have done that drive with you.
Yeah. So Yeah, that was cool. And for the listeners, John was my chaperone and my warden and keeper to keep my life from ending. Come to find out that if the bottle was for my wife, it didn't count toward my allowance.
Yes.
Nobody told me that until it was too late. So it's whatever. It's what do-overs are for. It's what Bardstown's there for.
I know. I totaled because our credit card statement was up. So it's like it ended. So all the trip was on there, and I was like, whoa. She's like, Lisa's like, you spent what? I was like, well, okay. In my defense, a lot of this is merchandise. I bought a lot of shirts.
Yeah. Nobody said no shirts or cups.
Yes, exactly.
So
2 Christmas ornaments,
there's some chocolate, some snicky snacks. I mean,
yeah. So I was like, she's like, and she was like, wow, you spent. I was like, yeah. I was like, I thought I was doing good, and then I realized I had to there were some other people's bottles in there too, so I had to
That's true.
Subtract that out, and I was like, okay, I stayed under my budget. I was actually happy with myself.
But I think we did good. Mm-hmm. I felt like I was self-controlled.
And honestly, I wouldn't have bought anything at Bardstown Bourbon if the master distiller wasn't signing everything.
I wish I could say that.
I got it. I got there. Well, yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. If that.
You cracked it. Have you cracked it yet?
No, I haven't. No, I'm saying the Goose Island Bourbon County pick or finish one.
Yeah.
Depending on if we would have been there kind of later, that might have gotten bought, but I was probably going to be, I would have been done. I would have literally handed you my wallet or hidden my wallet in your truck and said, don't let me get this out again.
We haven't been to Wilderness Trail yet.
We have not.
So we didn't know what we were going to encounter.
Yes.
And I'm glad that I ended up, so for the listeners,
But you got one that you knew your wife would like, so that was kind of like a.
I played the, I was pretty cool. I was pretty slick with that.
Slicked on that one.
I did that. So it's a Cabernet, Napa Cabernet blend that they came out with, and I had to choose between that and the one I really wanted, which was the Scout and Scholar. And for those that don't know, Scout and Scholar is the one and only brewery in Bardstown. And so you're down there, check them out. Great food, great whiskey selection, but their beer is top notch. So they partnered with Bardstown Bourbon Company and did that blend. And I had read about it, but I had never seen it. And it's because it's only there.
Yeah.
And
that's how they get you too.
Yeah. It was also, was it $179? It was expensive. Mm-hmm. So
because the Goose Island one was like, I think $150.
Yeah. So was the one that I got. Not that $20 really matters at that point. You're splitting hairs, but I justified it very quickly with that out card that my wife Jennifer gave to John in explicit instructions, which was, if it's for me, it doesn't count.
Yes.
We washed our hands of that situation really quick.
And when you told her about it, she was very excited.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
She was very excited till that credit card. She got very excited again.
Yeah, I can't spend a lot of money on this for a while, so because I got to pay off that card.
My Christmas came early.
Yeah. But yeah, I only bought because it was just the standard offering is what I bought, which you can get anywhere. But I bought it there while we were there because he signed a bottle, and I was like, I gotta get this.
It's a heck of a good pour. I mean, it's one of my favorite ones that they make, and I have a good amount. I don't have all of them. I never will because I make too many of them.
Well, that too.
But it's good. I mean, for price per pour, one of the better bourbons you're going to find, or better whiskeys. I think you'll find. What an amazing distillery!
Oh my God, the barrel houses were.
It was very modern.
Well, yeah, but it was also newer-ish.
Yeah. It was very, 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 very nice. It was also, and it was cool to see in their bar. Every friggin' pick or every pour.
God, their bar was massive.
Yeah, so you just tell the people are ambassadors of whiskey to each other, to other competitors. They're not competitors in their eyes. They're just a different one. So yeah, that was cool. I think that was a neat way to start the picking day off. We certainly were well lubricated when we went into Liberty.
We got there? Oh, yeah.
Or into there goes Liberty Pole. When we went into Wilderness Trail, which interestingly enough, I'll tie that back.
Yes.
So Liberty Pole, our very own Liberty Pole, gets their yeast
from them.
So how cool is that?
Yeah, because
I want to tell that story because that was
I told it on the last episode.
Okay, all right,
because I said the lady said this, but sometimes, people just like sometimes they just don't know what they're talking about. And I specifically said, Jim, correct me if I'm wrong. And he commented on the same post you did and said, nope, that's where we get it. So it was confirmed.
That's, I mean, it's a small world down there. The folks at Wilderness Trail were awesome. They were awesome. What an operation. Head to toe. It was cool too. The morning we picked up the wonderful juice, to sit with people from all over the country who were waiting on their tour. I think they were waiting for a tour, weren't they? And we just talked PA rye. We got to be an ambassador, if you would. Of,
because they had no idea.
If without rye, bourbon would have never flied. So I think that was pretty neat. Do a little education.
Going, because I poured some of the ragtime, but going to this, I love that it's got that, even though it's New York, but it's definitely got that PA style maltiness to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it does. It had a heck of a finish on it too. I wasn't prepared for it. I tried to keep myself from hacking into the microphone. That's good. That's cast strength. That's a bad boy right there.
112, right in my wheelhouse.
Right in your wheelhouse. Yep. Yeah, that's a good one for sure.
But anyway, well, Jason, thanks for coming on. Thanks for having me at your house.
Anytime.
Yeah, and I'm sure you'll be on multiple times, especially if you don't get one of the calendars, which goes off in 3 minutes.
Ooh,
so
we wrap this thing up at the prime time.
So I'll wrap this up while you get your phone ready.
Okay. Yeah. Because it's recording. So we're gonna pause that.
Yeah. So, But yeah, so thanks for, and like I said, if you don't get one of them, then you'll be back on for guest host for our shows, which are a lot of fun and come out way too frequently. It's usually kind of crazy, but yeah, there's the only thing left to say. Jason, sir, cheers to you.
Thank you, John. Thank you for having me. I love the podcast, so it's easy to do it when you're a fan of something you love. Awesome way to make new friends. I think it was really cool. We got to drive down there together. A whiskey brother for sure. So thank you.
And cheers to you.